Why are song remixes so popular nowadays? Like some of the music that we get is not even of the original creator. It is just somebody random that just came, swept in, put some reverb on it, put some slowed on it, and now it's even more popular than the original creators intended. Wow. I mean, why are these people just scalping any sort of like new music that comes out and kind of just remixing it? I mean, remixing has been around for a long time, but let's talk about it. What do I mean by scalper remix music? Um, I think first we have to go back. This is like what I don't even know. This is like 2012, 2013. Sort of like remixing kind of started popping up, and I think like also like you guys know Skrillex. Skrillex has like a lot of like remix sort of like music where he mashes a bunch of songs together, and then this is like 2013, sort of like Madion, right? Where he like mashed. I think it was like I don't know, like 23, 20 or something songs together. On this little board thing. I don't know what you call it. And he made some really good stuff out of it. And this is kind of like the area where we started to see a lot of these like remixing sort of styles of music come into popularity. And it might have been before that. I don't know. This is just my perception of it. Um, but a lot of the times they are remixes are just mashups of various different songs or various different things that a person tends to think that they are creative in some sort of way by modifying an original version, and so essentially taking work that is already done and formulating it into something that is quote unquote different, by doing some, I guess, short audio modifications to it. And a lot of the times we will see that this sort of like outperforms original artists, not in all cases, but in some cases, this is very prevalent, especially on social media platforms. And I think the most prevalent of these is like this sort of new sort of genre and categories that we are seeing right now, and it's like grunge, alt, like underground artists. They're usually not as popular as some of these mainstream artists, and obviously like if you remix like a mainstream artist, it probably won't do as well because there are so many other competitors in that sort of like market or area that are doing it. And so as a result of like taking these sort of like smaller creators here, or artists I should say, it tends to give them a really big popularity increase. Now that is a good thing and that is a bad thing, right? So you have this one person on the other hand, like they're taking this very new and original music and converting it and getting that person a lot of popularity, but also stealing the credit for the original song. And so, like, we kind of have this sort of like big imbalance that there's people that actually like the remix of a song more than the original one, and it's the person who remixed it is often getting more credit. And so let's talk about like the cost of, I guess, like social media and what the role of social media in this is. Now, one of the things that I hate is like you'll have, let's say, I don't know, like a very old song, let's say from the 90s or the 80s or something from the Beatles, let's say, and people online, they're like, it's that one TikTok song. I have a feeling that in the future, this will definitely be the case for a lot of like people who are being born like right now as I speak or within the last decade or so, and that's kind of come to the point where you have to say like this really is discrediting the original artist of the music. Now it's not per se I don't think it's per se anyone's fault. It's like this is what these kids grew up with and this is what they know. Just as people back in the day, they grew up on DVDs and CDs and stuff, but we don't typically tend to associate the media with, oh, that is from that one DVD or that is from that one CD. It's kind of associated with the artist. But the thing with the perception of social media, is that it has a tendency to fluctuate on which social media platform did this originate on, and I think that's a bit of an issue. And so like EDC and stuff has become like a big popular bit of this sort of trend where a lot of these sort of remixing artists, they will try to like incorporate these songs that are like very mainstream, I guess you could say, that are from a lot of these social platforms. And don't get me wrong, this definitely helps out a lot of those like original artists from like these not so popular or like underground sort of scenes, right? But I don't think it represents the artist's actual intentions with the music, and so like it kind of drives growth to these sort of scalpers, right? And I haven't really gone over what these scalpers are, but I will go into something that I discovered recently about these sort of people that take this sort of music and why it's a bad thing. So this is what I like to call the music scalper cycle. So not to mention there's also like people who will take original music, convert it into AI, then repurpose it. But that's all like a whole nother thing. But the main thing is that they will take let's say you release a song. You're a very new artist in the scene. A good representation of this is Pupsies. She had a new song called Misery or something like that. This even popped up on my feed, and I started to see like the edits. So this is how I found this cycle. So you are a scalper here. Let's say these are a bunch of scalpers, and you release a I don't know, some random song, pops up on your feed and it's like going in a bunch of edits, it's going viral and stuff like that. It's uploaded there. Um, and you know, the person who released the song put it on social media, obviously to generate reach. But the scalpers, they go ahead and say, "Oh, I'm just gonna remix this just a little bit, maybe and these remixes are not even remixes. I would even say they're like mostly like reverb. I think it's called reverb, slowing or sped up, right? And so these are like the common ones. And so I'll talk about a little bit like the psychology and social aspect behind these because I think it's like very interesting. But these are very minimal like edits. Like anybody could realistically do this, sound mixing and stuff like that for these sort of typical or not typical, but like easy things that you can do. I wouldn't call it remixing. Anyways, they put it on Spotify, they put it on social media and stuff. It gets reused a ton. Now, and then the scalpers basically benefit from this because they can claim this as their own. And basically, the first person to hop onto this sort of trend and mess with the audio just a little bit, they basically profit a lot from it. Now, the artists, you could say, oh yeah, they also probably profit from it, but they're taking a little bit of a hit because the people who actually, the scalpers are actually becoming more popular than the actual artist for their own song, and so that's what we'll see a lot of the time, that the slowed, the reverb, or the sped up version is actually more popular and I guess like more appealing to people. So that is something interesting that I found. So why is this the case? And you can see like this is the sort of examples that I found. So this one by Legacy, this is called like this one was called the like LARPing song or something like that. Um, and so people basically did slowed and reverb, slowed down, and so everyone has like their own interpretation of like this sort of like new like audio wave that is like basically happening here. But why is this the case? Like why do we find this more appealing than the actual artist's like original song? And so I think that is like two different waves. There's one where there's a sort of more tolerable wide shift in the sort of music that is acceptable now versus way back when. For example, breakcore. Breakcore is like a very like interesting sort of music genre that I discovered recently. Um, that wasn't quote unquote like popular or mainstream as a lot of the other sort of like music genres now. And so as a result, it has obviously increased in popularity. Um, the other coin, I guess the other side of the coin to that is that it kind of creates like this sort of niche effect, right? Um, and what do I mean by niche effect? It's the idea that like people will like specific audios or specific things in general simply based off the fact that it is not as popular, and so as a result people have a tendency to like that thing more. And so I call this like the car vibes or like the penthouse vibe sort of thing. If I'm in this sort of environment, or I want my life to be like this sort of environment because I objectively think that this is ideal for me and this is what people would also like to see, or this is what people would like to be surrounded by, what is the feel of the music that I would want to be surrounded by in this ideal environment that people call socially acceptable? And so, for like an example of this is like if I was in this sort of like penthouse here, I probably wouldn't be blasting country music, right? In your mind, you probably don't think somebody's blasting like country roads in here. You probably think they're blasting one of these like reverb or slow down sort of videos, or they have maybe like rap music or something like that, right? And so that's kind of like the niche sort of like objective skew that we sort of have with these sort of aesthetics, right? We want the music to match the environment that we are projecting out online, that we enjoy, that we like. And yeah, so that's like the other aspect that I think. So yeah, the social need to feel different and represent these images as they portray a positive liking to myself and like other people, right? And so that's like the social aspect. And this was this is probably the most prominent example thing that I found where Mike Posner, he's like, I took an Ibiza, a pill in Ibiza. The C remix is actually more popular than the actual song itself. 1.2 or 1.8 billion views almost a decade ago now. So that was like kind of crazy that I found. So yeah, so like these remix songs are like consistently just like keep on coming out, and like even the creators themselves, they kind of notice this. Like you see Pixie, who actually made the original like legacy song, she actually released like the slow down version of it, right? And so one thing that I think that creators can do is literally just like go and like start to like take down some of these other things, if they really want to. Like there's two sides of the coin, right? There's one where it's like it sort of like gives a lot more popularity to these people who are making this sort of remix music, but also the original creator. And it might not be their original intentions, but it's still their music at the end of the day. So I mean, it's a lot up for debate and like the personal like intentions, like the intention of the person if they really would want this to spread out, which I don't think it's like a bad thing. But you also need to consider that, are you getting all the attention that you necessarily would if these videos were or these audios were not mixed in this sort of way. So yeah, that's like an interesting like thing that I found. Like all these scalpers, like they literally just wait for new music to drop that is like very popular on social media, and then they go and make like very minimal remixes and tunes um to these sort of music and then publish it online and start farming those. So yeah, that's a really big thing along with AI music right now. But yeah, let me know what you think.